Hey there, Wastelanders, it's Brother Mike, and thank you so much for joining me. Today, we are going to be going over the 5th episode of the 2nd season of Fallout, and oh my, we have so much to go over. Best episode yet. And just like always, this episode is going to have spoilers, so spoiler warning now. And before we start, I want to thank you guys so much. As of right now, we're at 481 subscribers. My lord. Thank you guys so much for all the support. If you have any friends that may like this video, share it with them. If this is your first time watching and you enjoy, why don't you like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. So this episode started off exactly where we left off in the New Vegas Strip with a Deathclaw approaching Lucy and the ghoul. And as we return, it seems there's another Deathclaw and even a baby Deathclaw, which is kind of cute to see. The Deathclaws kind of act a bit stupider, obviously for plot reasons. We know Deathclaws would just instantly lunge out and attack, but Lucy and the ghoul are able to escape back into Freeside. And we get our first look at Freeside, and oh my, does it look amazing. Yes, things are moved around, but honestly, I'm just happy we're seeing it. Smithies, and of course the Atomic Wrangler, the sign looks amazing. It's kind of in a different positioned area, and my lord, everything I was saying about, how Freeside looks populated, Freeside is stacked, and it makes sense. All these workers and dealers and bouncers that worked on the strip were displaced. There was a lot of people working and potentially even living on the strip for these casinos and everything else around it, and we're seeing all of them there. We see all the old bellhop uniforms, all the old performer uniforms. I'm surprised we don't see like White Glove and Tops people, but who knows where they could be. It looks amazing. And once in Freeside, Lucy and the ghoul split up. The ghoul decides to have a drink at the Atomic Wrangler, which we don't see Fisto in yet. And Lucy goes to find some Addictol, and she finds this store and sneaks in the back because the prices are a little bit too much for a Addictol. But when she's in the shop, she notices that there is a dead man in the trash can, and she steals the Addictol and a Power Fist. And then this part was just goofy. I can't keep it together, but the guy took his suit and he's just naked in the trash can. This was, I feel like, encapsulated the Fallout comedic tone perfectly, was this one scene. I feel like last season they had some goofy stuff, but this scene right here is like the Fallout humor, just like it just right there. Just a dead guy. The fat guy's wearing his clothes, can barely fit into them. Lucy shoots the man and she kills him, which could potentially be one of the first actual people she's killed. Now, he was going to come after her and kill her, so it was defense, but ooh, we might see Lucy actually be changing, other than her just, like, tweaking, which is further kind of proved by what she does later on. And we also, it goes back to the ghoul, where he is in the Atomic Wrangler asking the bartender what happened. And yes, I was right. The Deathclaws from Quarry Junction moved into the strip. I mean, it made sense. They were only like a few miles away. I mean, obviously now with how much bigger everything they're making, it could have been more, but they were very close to the strip, and it makes sense. And what also makes sense is jumping to the end credit of this episode, it zooms out and it shows NCR and Legion bodies inside of the Gomorrah, where presumably the Deathclaw nest was, which is also a really cool tie into like the Gomorrah is named after the city that was burned for all the sinners in it, and what has moved in, seemingly devils. I saw that in a Reddit post. I don't remember who said it, but really liked it. And so possibly is my other theory correct about the NCR and potentially the Legion both attacking the strip, trying to take it over after being pushed out of Hoover Dam by Mr. House? It is looking very, very likely. And just got to say, I told you so. I knew that those death claws were from Quarry Junction. I mean, really, where else? It wouldn't have made sense from anywhere else, or that they just showed up. Which means possibly did the courier take out all the death claws in Quarry Junction, and whichever ones were left over decided to move into the strip? It's a possibility. Their old home was destroyed, and there's all this commotion going on there. Who knows? And then that leads directly into the flashbacks of Cooper visiting the Lucky 38. Now, they bounce around here. Like always, I'm just going to stick to kind of one scene premise and then move on to the next thing. So I might go out of order here. But we finally get this showdown between Cooper Howard and Mr. House. And oh my lord, I love what they've done with the Lucky 38. I've been a little hesitant with some of the artistic changes they've made to Freeside and the strip, and I'm not going to complain too much about them because I don't want to be a complainer. But I really like what they've done with the Lucky 38 and how they've made it a little bit bigger. It looks beautiful. Oh my lord. And the Securitron in pristine order out front in its cop mode. We also see the military police, which is almost a sign to what will come 200 years in the future, that military police will still be on the strip, hence the NCR. Even though they aren't really a military police, but you know. And also the armor, it kind of looks like a form of riot armor, which is really cool. I love that they're tying that in, that California wasn't potentially the only place with this kind of specific armor. Maybe it just prominently used it. And then Mr. House meets who he presumably thinks. Oops. And then Cooper presumably meets House, where we finally get the reveal that's kind of been obvious, where who we think House leans in and says, House is ready for you. Ooh. Or House would like to speak with you. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of obvious. But oh my, Rafi Silver's job, so good. And also shout out to him. I sent him a message and he responded, very kind. Very nice dude. So shout out him. I absolutely have loved his performance as the House double. And finally we get this showdown between Cooper and the Ghoul. And so much is said and goes on here. And I thought they were going to mess stuff up. And they stayed really loyal to House's character. Like, they didn't alter any of the lore. If anything, they used it to shape the story, because what we find out from Mr. House is that now that Cooper is in the equation, the date from the bombs dropping has been pushed back, meaning Cooper is going to do something, or could do something, or has the power to do something to completely, inevitably delay the dropping of the bombs. Because as seen when talking to Mr. House in New Vegas in the game, he says that by 2065, it would be a most certainty that nukes would be dropped. And we learn here that his original predictions were that year. And on the date of Cooper Howard's daughter's birthday, which is crazy. I don't even know what implications that could mean, or if it has any at all. But also, oh my lord, just there's so much. I've rewatched it many times, that scene, and so much is said. Not only that, but we even get a look at the cool helmet that he wears that connects him into the Lucky 38. So much. I can't keep my thoughts straight. And it seems Mr. House knew Cooper was coming there to kill him, but almost knew that Cooper wasn't going to do it because of the man Cooper wants to be. And House knows who the man Cooper really is. And at the end of this confrontation, he tells him what he thinks of him, how he really thinks of him, what Cooper Howard is, and he describes what the Ghoul is. And when he storms back into the Lucky 38 elevator, we see a change within Cooper. And I think this is where Cooper Howard starts to die and where the ghoul is born. And I've seen a lot of people go over this scene in the elevator where we see his entire personality shifts, and he's chugging the alcohol. I mean, we see the split between him and the ghoul, and it's symbolism. It shows that this is the point where Cooper Howard almost ceases to exist. He's come to the realization that the world around him is evil. His wife is potentially evil. Everything that he's been supporting and working for is all evil. His whole world is crashing down on him in this moment. Everything is crashing down on him in this moment. And I think it is one of the most amazing scenes that the show has shown so far on how all these little things can build up and completely change and break someone into this monster. That's where the monster of the ghoul is made, and I love this scene so much. Honestly, shout out to whoever directed this episode because it is so beautifully shot. Every single scene is so beautifully shot. But let's jump over to Hank and the chicken lover. So, we get our look at the chicken lover, and he's approaching Vegas with his fusion core in hand and his briefcase with all those drugs in it. He's picking flowers for presumably a date. And we finally see Fisto! I thank the Lord, and I'm so happy we see the Fisto with the chicken lover. They seem to have some sort of history together. Oh my Lord, I love it. The show has been saved. They can do whatever they want now. At least we saw Fisto, and it seems Fisto set up the chicken lover because Hank arrives and he knocks him out, and oh no, he sets him up to the chip. And when I saw this, I went, no, I wanted the chicken lover to be in this, following us throughout the show, just always being there. And Hank finally cracks the code. But is there something to this? Because it almost seems that he is accepting of it, and that's potentially why. I saw that on a clip from Screen Grab, I think is the YouTuber, big YouTuber. So potentially could that be why it's working, or did Hank finally crack the code? Which I think obviously from a writing point, I think Hank finally cracked the code. And my Lord, what we get next from it. I know I'm jumping around, but that's just the way I do these breakthroughs. Go watch the episode before. And the next time we see him is when Lucy and the ghoul meet up again, where the ghoul seems already in distraught. And I think it's because he's starting to grow attached to Lucy, but we know that the only reason he actually has Lucy around is as a bargaining chip. And we see him save Lucy out of kindness and not because she's a bargaining chip, yet he tells himself it's because of that. But it's clear that he's starting to like her being around, like her, almost how naive she is. It almost seems it reminds him, and potentially even reminds him of his daughter. And they're in the hotel room, presumably, and the chicken lover walks in, and he looks a lot different. He's wearing a tie, a nice, I mean, if I ripped this off, I'd look exactly like him. And Hank is talking through him, and this tech is scary. This tech has, you can't tell that he's being controlled at all. And I don't think Lucy or the ghoul can tell. And that's where Hank, aka Hank speaking through the chicken lover, gives the ghoul an ultimatum and says, I have your family here, and if you do not return my daughter to the vault, then I'm gonna kill them. And I think that this is a total lie, because we're not shown the names of them there, and I think Hank is using the fact that he knows the ghoul is looking for his family, as he says at the end of season 1, which I think could potentially be one of the ghoul's biggest mistakes he's made, was letting it be known that he was Cooper Howard and was looking for his family to Hank, because we don't know if Hank is telling the truth. He's just saying it. We don't see that they're actually being frozen down there, so who knows? But the ghoul chooses his family over Lucy, and he shoots her with the tranq darts, like the ones she had before. And wow, this scene, this whole episode was so amazingly done. Not only the contrast between who Cooper Howard is and the ghoul, and how they are almost the devil and the angel on his shoulder, that there's a man in there that wants to be let out, but he's just, there's just so much at play. There's so much going on. I have so much to talk about. I can't fit it all in this video without going off on tangents, but oh my gosh, it's amazing. And Lucy, I thought we were finally getting along. What we all thought was going to happen, where she punches him out of the window, is true. That's what happens. And it's heartbreaking. But what happens next is a little weird, and I do not like at all. And this is my biggest complaint with the episode, and this is my favorite episode so far. But Lucy attacks the ghoul after being tranked. Now, when we saw her use those tranks in earlier seasons, they almost worked immediately. And potentially because of the addictol in her system, it may be combating that. But she is able to punch the ghoul out, and he falls out of the window, which we thought he was going to just fall to his ground. And he gets impaled through the stomach, with a spike, fully through. And I went, oh, the ghoul's dead. They just murked the ghoul. And honestly, I hope that they murk the ghoul, because are you guys just making ghouls like healing machines? Because how is he going to survive from this? We know he's definitely going to be in the rest of the season, but what the heck, what was that? Like, genuinely, what was that? I know that was for, like, effect and stuff, but, like, maybe people aren't wrong saying that the ghoul is using FEV, and that's what he's inhaling, but there's no way there's that much FEV around. But I can't, there's nothing lore-wise that tells me ghouls could get a hole the size of probably my head or smaller right through you, and he's like, what the heck? Who's gonna get him down? I hope next episode starts with him like, help! Because, I don't know. I don't know, so much happened this episode, and then that happens, and you're like, it made no sense. And I've been trying to make sense of it. But I don't know. I don't know. I know it's supposed to be serious, but I started dying laughing because of how goofy it was. But I know that they wanted to oh my, I know that they wanted there to be some, like, thing that makes Lucy and the ghoul fight, but, like, that is insane. Like, no matter what, there's no way the ghoul and Lucy make up after this. What are you talking about? I don't care. If I sold someone back to their dad, presumably, as a bargaining chip for my wife and my family, and even if, yeah, I would not doubt, I wouldn't give it to them to punch me out of a window. But from what happens after, if I'm impaled, and then I'm definitely going to survive after, because we see the ghoul is perfectly fine later on with some stuff when he meets Johnny Pemberton. They're talking and the ghoul is walking around normally. So, please, how are we going to explain this? Yeah, ghouls can heal using radiation, but that's like a stretch. Like, you're making it so ghouls are like practically immune to damage, which isn't true. We kill multiple ghouls. So is it a headshot that takes ghouls out, or can they come back from that? Because I thought we were over the ghoul regenerating like crazy, and that's why they gave us that whole shot of him like Vita spraying himself with radiation. But who knows? I don't even know. I don't even know how to talk about the situation. Is the ghoul dead? Because bro got absolutely spiked through the stomach and is there. What the heck? I spent too much time on that, but I don't even know how to talk about that. So, and we get a little bit of Norm and the survivors of Vault 31 on their way to the Vault-Tec administrative building, or kind of HQ in the Los Angeles area. And the lady from the shop, I forget what her name is, the older lady from the shop, is living there with her wife, presumably, and they've taken over and they have a radroach farm there in the elevator, which is hilarious. I guess they're farming them for meat, which we haven't seen done before, but honestly, good idea. I mean, I don't know how tasty radroaches are, but if they are, it's a good farm to have. And we finally figure out what this future... And we finally figure out what the step 2 to Bud Askin's plan is, and that is FEV. We were right. We were right about that. I knew that it sounded weird when he brought it up, and I was like, that's a weird, like, next step. And then people were like, you know, if you take the first letter, it just spells FEV. And boom, it seems that Bud wanted to make literal super managers, like super managers. So this is crazy, and we find it on Barb's computer, which means Barb knew about FEV before the bombs dropped, which is crazy, and potentially had a part in at like the FEV and Vault-Tec as a whole, which adds so much lore to her character. I mean, I would like a show about her and her rising the ranks in Vault-Tec leading up to her and Cooper divorcing. I mean, I would love that type of show, but wow, we're really going there. I didn't think that we would go there. I thought maybe it'd be something they hint at, but it looks like they want to turn these super managers into super mutant managers to take over the wastes. Now, I have a feeling they were never able to actually perfect this, as we never see super mutants perfected at all. The closest we can maybe come is with Virgil, and even then he has rage tendencies, and he even says himself he sees certain aspects of his motor functions and such slipping, and that he becomes more angry. So I wonder if this is actually something that they saw all the way through, or if this is where Bud's plan starts to fall apart. And I'm very excited, but I'm also really worried about Norm. Norm was getting rizzed up by that girl, and I mean, I don't blame him. Where we kind of found out that she was really, really new, which doesn't make sense and makes me believe that she is a potential enclave, or I don't know. Potentially maybe a Chinese asset, but I'm not sure. But she said a week. She drove over that bridge to be interviewed, and now she's in a vault. Someone fast-tracked her, and could that potentially have been Hank? Especially with what's talked about in Mr. House and Cooper's meeting, which I'm going to be doing a full in-depth video going over it. That's why I didn't go over it much earlier. I should have probably said that earlier, because I could literally take 30 minutes to talk about that, and I don't want to make this video longer than it needs to be. But towards the end of that conversation, it seems Mr. House says that there is something that he can't identify that may be the reason the bombs drop. And it makes it very clear that he is talking about the Enclave. And not even House knows that the Enclave is around, which is a bit of a... Here's the thing, he never talks about the Enclave in the game. So potentially, were they that secretive? Were they that not known about? Even though a journalist in West Virginia was able to find out what happened the day the bombs dropped? I don't know. So maybe they really were that good. But the one thing that I don't believe is Mr. House was making the tech for the Enclave. The Enclave tech looks a lot like Vault-Tec tech. And Vault-Tec technology is Robco technology, or at least a lot of it is Robco made technology. So I don't know. Maybe he's acting dumb here. Maybe Mr. House is working with or knows of the Enclave, but it seems he doesn't, which is kind of big here. And I like that we're getting hints about them more and more and more. I mean, the first season starts with the Enclave, and then we see them watching over the meeting with Vault-Tec and the other companies where they talk about dropping the bombs, where Barb talks about war never changing. And yeah, it seems that that leaked photo that Johnny had on his Instagram of Eden could be something they're going towards. Could we potentially get a radio broadcast from Eden that they overhear? I don't know. But they're really setting up the Enclave for being this big bad, and I have a feeling the Enclave is going to come back in full force. Stronger and bigger than we've ever seen them before, because I have a feeling that they've been doing exactly what Mr. House is doing, which is waiting for the right moment to strike. On what? We don't know, but we know that they're out there and that they're planning something, and that potentially they're even using the mind chips too. So I'm really excited. They are setting up so much. Every single character plotline has a cliffhanger at the end of this. We don't know what's going to happen with the ghoul. Obviously, we all think he's going to die. Reasonably, he would be dead. If that happened in a Fallout game to a ghoul, they would die. That's just what I believe. Maybe not because of the way their bodies work, but I don't know. That's the worst decision I've seen them make so far in the show, and I'm going to say that, is the ghoul and being impaled on a spike by Lucy. Because how are they going to repair their relationship after this? Unless they don't, and they're just going to be stuck with each other. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of today's episode, because oh my, there is so much to go over. Not only with this Mr. House meeting, but with Vault-Tec, and we don't see much going on with the Vaults or the Brotherhood of Steel with this episode, which I'm happy, because I feel like we're in New Vegas and we haven't seen too much New Vegas, and now we've seen how beautiful they made Freeside. Yes, it's different. Yes, it's changed. Yes, things are moved around. But it's just, this episode really felt like Fallout, is something I'll say. Besides a little bit of the goofy stuff, but that's just things they have to do for the plot. And I'm really excited to see what they have planned for the future Enterprise Ventures, aka FEV. Are they going to try and manipulate their brains or their whole bodies? Who knows what they know? Could they take a different take to what we see? Could we be seeing a new type of FEV that is less physical changing? I don't know. There is a lot of stuff here. I also believe that potentially the chicken lover is more than what we think he is. Yesterday in my live stream, a viewer asked me, what do you think is up with the chicken lover? Do you think that he's just a throwaway funny character? Or could he maybe be a remnant of the Enclave or a remnant of Vault-Tec? He seems to have a weird knowledge about stuff and seems almost way too unbothered. I mean, maybe he potentially is a mutant of some kind. That's less, but I don't know. Maybe he's just a silly character they're going to keep around. But I'm excited what they do with his character, especially now that he's chipped up, looking oh so proper and such. Yeah, I really enjoyed today's episode. The only complaint I have is the stuff with the ghoul, which I think it just was weird and totally unnecessary and gruesome. When, like, if they wanted something to be gruesome and shocking, we should have seen someone, like, run out in the strip and a Deathclaw rip him in half or something. Like, that's better than the shock value of, like, fake killing off one of your main characters with the best storyline, for him to 100% just be okay in the next episode, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to show them, like, him, like, sitting on top of a radiation barrel and his body, like, fixing itself back together, which, if that's what they're doing with ghouls, then they've destroyed ghouls. I'm saying that. right here and right now, because that's what we saw with Thaddeus. And if they're saying, oh, you become a ghoul and you can just instantly heal yourself, that doesn't really make sense, especially with the things we see. What about ugly son of a bee, and Freeside? What about him? Like, why isn't he healing like that? His face is literally, bro, it's like that meme of when you get a yart from the gas station. Like, what's going on with that? So I hope we get some thing. Maybe it's through his stomach, so it doesn't matter. He'll heal, but I don't know. I don't know. That's my biggest part. Of course, I just make a whole big video about praising what they're doing with the ghouls and stuff, and then they pull this. Cooper finally says, Barb, I think we need to talk, which is where I think he's gonna... I would like to see that confrontation and where it leads to. And potentially, did House invite Cooper Howard to the Lucky 38 to try and anger him into pushing back the bombs? And what I think is my biggest takeaway is, did Mr. House know he did not have enough time to get everything ready for the bombs? And so he introduced a new wild card that ultimately set the date back? Yes, he was wrong about it, but it got him more time. So was this planned by Mr. House? Was this all like planned out before they came in? That's what I'm saying is, did Mr. House purposefully push Cooper to his limit, give him all this information? Did he bring him there? Did he potentially have Moldaver send him there? Because we still don't know who Moldaver works for, and it is seeming more and more like the person giving Moldaver information is literally House himself. So did Mr. House buy himself more time by getting Cooper involved in all of this? Because we see Cooper eyeballing the case and Hank. So maybe Cooper and Hank have more of a history than we know. And maybe what Victor said actually comes true, and that it was possibly all a part of Mr. House's plan. Because at the end of the day, what is more important? The platinum chip? Pretty much what Mr. House's, all of his work, this masterful chip, he even says himself that it's like his life's work almost, because everything has led to the chip. Or cold fusion, which he can just use the generator he has. He can make do, or at least he thinks he can. And honestly, if I was House, I would pick the chip. The power it gives you with not only upgrading the Lucky 38, which we don't even know to the level of what upgrades it does to the Lucky 38, especially now with all the new promotional material Amazon Prime was putting out about how he can connect, update, gather data from any of his devices. I would choose the Platinum chip, especially on top of that with the whole upgrade to your whole entire robot army, which was supposed to be overpowered and they've totally dumbed down, but I'm not going to talk about that. I would choose the chip. So I'm liking this, and they're not messing. That's one thing that I like and I've hoped for, and it's making... This episode has totally switched my thoughts on the show. Totally. Besides the ghoul. Fake death scene. But, it was... When he's sitting there and he's like, So yeah, I have a lot to go over in the upcoming week. There was so much in this episode, and they really, really, really stayed accurate to the lore. Like extremely, like, to a point where it wouldn't have mattered even if they, like, embellished a little, because... But they did. So I have hope. I have hope that they're possibly trying to fake us out. And who knows? Maybe them constantly saying everyone thinks they're the winner is just a red herring, and that we're all getting fooled, and that, who knows, Mr. House is on the top. But I also want to talk about the end credit scene, where it zooms out of the Gamora and shows the top of the penthouse and presumably House dead. Now, I've been trying to take these end credits into consideration for theories on the show and such. And so is House dead? Are we seeing a dead house? I've been trying to find somewhere the end credit, but I can't. And I'm having trouble screen grabbing, of course. But I don't know. Is House potentially dead? Then how are we seeing him on the trailer when the ghoul turns around and the house is there on the Lucky 38 monitor? I don't know. Maybe the Yes Man backup theory is starting to make sense. Especially if his head is literally directly connected to the Lucky 38. He would be able to do that. So, I don't know. Maybe House is dead. Or maybe these end credit scenes should not be taken as seriously as we have been. Even though a basis of a lot of my theories stem off of one, maybe it shouldn't. Maybe I should be sticking straight to the material. I don't know. Maybe I'm straight coping because I don't want Mr. House to be dead, and that's 100% what it is. And so you can call me out for it in the comments because that's what I'm doing. I'm coping hard right now because I don't want House dead. I think it's smarter if they leave him alive, especially with the state everything's in. I don't think we haven't seen how, like, just from a lore standpoint, it'd be very hard for them to kill him if it wasn't the courier, which it could have been the courier. They also have his chamber in the room with him up there, and they've shown us these end credits to then in the next episode show us the area, and it does not look anything like the end credits. So I think we shouldn't take them so much at face value, especially because the end credit from last season shows down NCR vertebrates, a destroyed strip, and we don't see that, like, at all. Like, it seems the strip has been cleaned up. So, I don't know. I might start taking the importance of those end credit scenes because it seems like they're not really affecting anything, like, at all. But, which kind of bums me out. Or maybe I'm just saying all that because I don't want Mr. House to be dead. And that's definitely what it is. Or a little bit of both. Because I've been wondering why they show us these end credit zoom outs and they don't actually lead to anything. Like, they just kind of hint at areas in, like, we haven't been to Buffalo Bison or Casino yet that was one. Or we haven't seen Camp McCarran, which I doubt we even will now. I don't know. We only got 3 episodes left, and we still don't really know where they're going. So I have a feeling it'll be kind of like the first season where the majority of the story happens in those last 2 episodes. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I really enjoyed today's episode. And if you guys did or didn't, let me know down below. If you've made it this long and you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you have any wacky theories from what this episode showed us, let me know down below. And if you don't agree with anything that I said during this video, let's debate about it in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for 100. And I think as of right now, it's like 183. Oh my lord, thank you guys so much. Really, thank you a lot. And if you're just watching this, I may be live currently talking about the show, so who knows. Yeah, so with all that being said, thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget, you are cared for, you are loved, and you stay safe out there, Wastelanders.